Hey, thanks for joining me today. We are going to talk about a very important concept called the acceleration loop. And this is a 3-year continual digital growth system that you can run on repeat that most companies take 10 years to figure out. So, what I have seen as a consultant and a marketing leader is that most marketing operational leaders in business turn a 3-month strategic process into a 3-year spinning process. They turn 3 months of strategy, what should be, a very, straightforward, clean process into years of trying and attempting and if you've done that, you know what I mean. I've done that. I know what that's like. And that's really why we came up with this digital growth system. But it's really not fun and it wastes a lot of time and money. And so if you're in that spot today, I'm here to help you fix that. Let's fix that. Let's talk about how to get out of that cycle and get into an acceleration loop. In this time together, I'm going to present a concept called a flywheel. And you may have heard of a flywheel before. It's kind of the new funnel, but it's a new way of thinking about your digital growth that is going to transform your process. And it's the backbone concept to how our 3-year digital growth system works. So we'll get more into that later. What you can expect though from this time from me and what I'm going to share with you is a few things. One, no pitches, no fluff. You're just going to get straight answers and clarity. By the end of this time, I am going to share how I can help you and what it would look like to work together if that's something you want to do. But there's no pressure and there's no commitment. I want you to walk away today, right now, with information, with clarity, with insight, with understanding about how you can improve your digital growth system in your company starting today. And I hope you walk away with some new ideas and some bigger understanding. Okay, I'm going to walk through the biggest challenges you'll face with digital growth. What some of those big hairy things that we hear about all the time and that we solve for our clients and that you're probably going through. I'm going to answer some questions. These are questions I get live all the time from clients during calls, during webinars. And I've kind of brought them together so that I can answer some of the most pressing ones that are really related to our topic today. I'm going to also just help you walk away knowing your next best step. Like I said, I really want you to walk away from this with a ton of value, a ton of insight, and not just a pitch, but just clarity and action for your next step. So those are my goals. That's what we're going to go after. What I really want to take you through here is a process of going from chaos in your marketing or your digital growth to consistency. How do we go from chaos, from throwing spaghetti at the wall, from all kinds of stuff to a consistent, repeatable, predictable thing? How do we go from just busy activities, doing so many things, trying so many new things, adopting new technologies, chasing trends to building, stacking intentionally, and seeing and experiencing progress and success from what you build? How do you go from busy to building? And then lastly, we're going to go from stuck to scale. We're going to go from my wheels are spinning. I'm in a mud puddle and I'm just hitting the gas and I'm spinning out and it's going nowhere. How do I climb out of this hole? And how do I actually go forward to where I want to be? That's what we're going to cover. So before we dive into more content, I do want to give you an intro on me and who I am. If you're unfamiliar, I am a family man. Honestly, first and foremost, you can see these pictures of my family. The top left picture, my wife has the hat on. That's at a winery in Oregon called Left Coast. Beautiful spot. Introduced to us from a client of ours that we've gone many times and enjoyed just the scenery and the wine there. It's beautiful. The other picture is me and my wife on a recent date night. We like to get out every week in a date night, and this one here is in Phoenix, Scottsdale, where we live, and uh, we just like to have great time together. So more about me. Let me get into why this matters for you. I basically have 15 or so years of experience in digital marketing and growth strategy. It's been pretty much my entire career has been in digital marketing and growth strategy. The first thing I ever did, I remember being in college in my dorm room at launching a blog, and I've taken that and done many things with it since that day. I have managed a SaaS content marketing department. I've directed a creative agency content team, came in as a copywriter, and left with 30 people under my department, and we really built that out, and we're crushing converting copy for our clients. It was awesome. But then I went from there and had an opportunity to actually build and sell an online course company. And for me, that was a great opportunity to cut my teeth with risk and pressure, and making marketing work on my own with what I had to work with. And that was a really great time to learn how to make marketing work, like I said, and it really paved the path for what we're going to talk about today, and what I walk my clients through to help them achieve digital scale. And then basically went from that, sold it, and started Structure 7 years ago. And we have been helping hundreds of clients since. It's been a very exciting ride. We've mostly helped scale under tech companies across private equity, manufacturing, transportation, generating, millions, $100 million plus for clients. And, that's not just a fictional number. We really have worked with hundreds of people, hundreds of millions of dollars. And we have found that our system works across pretty much all industries, our digital growth system. However, we have seen it work best, and we've honestly seen the biggest transformations in these under tech industries, because oftentimes you're trying to make stuff work, but you have to figure out a whole new system. And so that's a little bit there. I am passionate about accelerating digital growth, and those words are important, and ROI, not just activity. And so for me, it's really key to grow, and to grow fast, and to grow sustainably. And those are things I'm really passionate about, because I've worked in digital marketing for a lot of years, and there's so much focus put on tactics, so much focus put on activities, and metrics that honestly don't drive bottom line results. And so many agencies, and so many freelancers, and so many people out there are stuck in this loop. And I don't even necessarily blame them, but they're stuck in this loop of trying to do things that honestly, at the end of the day, look like numbers, but they don't drive results. And so my passion is do the things that work, and drive ROI. And we'll continue to unpack that over this talk. And it's infused within our digital growth system, and how we approach everything is really driving results. All right. Lastly, Structure, our company exists because we believe business is personal. I believe business is personal, and we want to partner with leaders who want to think bigger and achieve more. And we want to help them do that. And, the premise here is that we've all, if you've been in business for any amount of time, like 2 days, you've probably heard the phrase, it's not personal, it's just business. And usually that happens with when there's a firing, or the company getting acquired, or you just have to deliver some bad news. And the truth is that it's honestly a lie. And I'm not into lies. I'm into truth and results. And when you're sitting across the table, and if someone tells you, "Hey, it's not personal, it's just business," you just want to scream at them and say, "Hey, it is personal. This is personal for me. This is personal for you. This is personal for our customers. Our businesses exist to deliver value for all of us." And when we treat them like this autonomous machine that's impersonal and disconnected from who we are as people, and the results don't matter, and it's just like a thing, it's inhuman, and it's untrue. And so that's not how we work. We work to build businesses, and build people who build businesses, and that's very core to our belief system. All right. Let's keep going. I could talk about that all day, but you've probably heard enough. Digital growth challenges. These are probably some of the challenges you're facing today and some of the challenges that we're going to solve. And I want to share these because I think they're relatable. I think they're understandable. I think they're common. And if you have them, you're in the right place. And these are also things that we have solved over and over and that our clients experience. So one of them is just scattered, disconnected marketing efforts, fragmented stuff. We've got things all over the place, right? We're trying a million things and we're trying to make a million things work and they're not connected, they're not aligned, they're not integrated. We've got our CRM and our website and our ads and our social and stuff's happening. We just don't know if it's working. And honestly, the reason it's not working is probably because it's disconnected. But man, that's a lot of work to get it all put together. So that's one of the first challenges that you may be facing. The other one is just you've worked with agencies and service providers, partners, freelancers, all kinds of people who just overpromise and underdeliver. They just rattle off a bunch of terms and KPIs and SEO and blah blah blah, and they'll tell you of all these things that could happen, and then at the end of the day, you hire them to do it, and then you get crickets, right? Or they give you stuff that you don't understand, or they give you a bunch of numbers, but you're like, my boss is still not happy because the sales team is bored, right? So that is a challenge that can be overcome, but it's a very common one. The third thing here is data is unclear. So decision making feels like a gamble. You may be not able to track your data. You don't know what the lead to close rate is. You don't know what conversion rates on your forms are. You don't know what it costs to acquire a customer. You don't know the lifetime value of a customer. And these aren't just vanity marketing metrics. These drive businesses and these drive your business. And the CEO of the business is going to want to know these things. And so if the marketing can tell that story, if the digital growth can support those and make the business model work, game changer, right? For everybody. So that's a big challenge, is how do we get data clear? How do we not gamble on our decision making? How do we make it clear? Okay, last thing here is just lots of activity, and this is the underpinning of everything we're talking about, but lots of activity without seeing sustainable traction. And you're working hard. You're trying your best. You're doing a ton of work, but you know what? At the end of the day, you look at it and you go, the numbers are still down. It must be a market problem. It must be, the Google Analytics changed their, setup again. Why is Facebook updating the algorithm again? And you start blaming external factors. But the truth is probably not those. There's probably more to the picture. But anyway, it is a significant challenge that's very common. So if you're feeling any of these, you are completely normal. You're in the right place, and we're going to tackle them today. Here's the bad news, is that 70% of digital transformations fail. And by digital transformations, I mean digital growth initiatives that have the potential to transform business. It doesn't necessarily mean the technical term, a massive digital transformation, although that could be it. Like going from a brick and mortar to a digital online, like an e-commerce store. It can be a digital transformation. Like, we are trying to achieve a certain amount of revenue this year through our digital channels. You're transforming how you operate digitally. The source here, this is from a McKinsey article or video article called "Why Do Transformations Fail?" And they say often the CEO doesn't set a sufficiently high aspiration, or sufficiently high enough aspiration, it probably should say. But during the early stages of the transformation, he or she doesn't build conviction with the team about the importance of this change, or craft a change narrative that convinces people they need to make the transformation happen. People throughout the organization don't buy in, and they don't want to invest extra energy to make the change happen. Two things here that I want to pull out for you is this research says three things. One, that The reason digital growth fails most of the time, digital growth initiatives, is because the vision isn't big enough. The vision isn't big enough. What? Surprising. You'd think it would be like we ran out of money. No, it's actually the goals were too small. The vision was too small. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the importance and the urgency of the change. What's on the table? How much money could you save by making this digital transformation? How much scale could you create by making this digital transformation? What's the importance and what's the impact? That's a very key part of any sort of digital growth initiative. Lastly, is people throughout the organization don't buy in. That's alignment. Is not everybody's on the same page. Not everybody's up to date. Everybody has different goals or objectives, right? And these are the primary reasons digital growth fails. So for you, quick reflection point, just to think for a second, what frustrating digital growth challenge or opportunity, maybe, are you facing that needs a solution now? Maybe it's one of those four we listed. Maybe it's one of those reasons that we just talked about. But for you, and if you look at your business and your situation, what's the most frustrating, painful thing that you're facing? And how does that feel? Just good to kind of like identify that as we go forward so that as we talk, you can start to solve that in your brain and take those steps. The key here that I want you to take away, one of the keys, is that transformation, digital growth, isn't about more tactics. What you're doing doesn't work. There's no use banging your head against the same wall over and over again. That's foolishness, right? Digital growth transformation is actually at the core. If you want to win here, it's about better vision, alignment, and strategy. Let's unpack that. So here is our fix. Here's how we solve this problem, this common, painful, expensive problem, is we create a flywheel. We install or coach or communicate or teach a concept called the flywheel. Now, we don't call our system a flywheel necessarily, but I want to unpack this concept for you. And you'll see in this nice GIF that on the left, you have a pump of a well pump for water, and it's pumping. Every pump takes an effort and you get an output of water. On the right, you have a well, very similar infrastructure, but there's a couple different components. Is you have this spinning wheel on the top that seems to continually spin. And then you also have this water that just continually outpours at the same rate without really any indication that there's pumping required. Now, it doesn't spin on its own. It has to be started, and we have to make those assumptions. But the truth is that on the right, we have a flywheel. And the special thing about this flywheel is once you start it and keep it going, it produces more, better, faster. Let me break this down. We talked about how we're going to take you from chaos to consistency in this conversation. With a flywheel, what it does is each rotation is easier to control than the previous rotation. It's more efficient of a process. A flywheel is more efficient than one-off ad hoc activities. Busy to building. The thing is that rotations of a flywheel, cycles, loops, they produce a more smooth output. And you can see that with the water as an example. It's coming out at the same rate. And you don't have just these feast or famine cycles of it's working, it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. You gotta have a little bit more of like a consistent run, stuck to scale. The great thing about this is it delivers output at higher rates than the input. Is so little input, massive output, and the more momentum that you get going, the same or less inputs and the same or more outputs. And so it's outsized, it's asymmetrical. You get exponential returns. This is the concept. And if you've heard this before, You're like, yeah, I've heard this, let's keep going. Great. If you haven't, there's a way to make this work. And so we're going to break this down. What we do and what I want to teach you is a digital growth system. And this digital growth system is the flywheel for digital growth. It's a system. It's a flywheel is a system. And there are basically four components to this: digital strategy, digital presence, digital content, and digital optimization. This is the flywheel. Under digital strategy, there's assessments. You got to learn. You got to assess what's reality. You got to workshop and improve and cast vision and set goals. And then you have to create strategy. That's the digital strategy portion. Digital presence is about your infrastructure. This is managing your website, updating your website, enhancing your website, building, designing, improving, and creating lead funnel. Digital content is about expanding on the goals and the strategy and the infrastructure, and now managing channels, managing content, producing content, developing content, and creating lead funnels, ways for people to actually connect with your company. And then the fourth component of the digital growth system here is optimization. And that's optimization strategies like SEO, search engine optimization, CRO, conversion rate optimization, WPO, WordPress optimization, website performance optimization, reporting, and alignment. These are all key components of a digital growth system. And they all have to actually work in harmony for digital growth to work. You may be looking at this right now and you might say, well, we're doing ads and we're doing social media and we're sending an email newsletter. Awesome. That's great. You're living in the digital content component and you've got that working. That's great. Well, we have a website. It works great. You've got digital presence, right? And that's pretty common. Most people have those components that are active. What they're missing is vision and strategy. They're missing the alignment up front, and they're also missing the reporting and the optimization at the end, right? They've got a website and they're putting stuff out there, some sort, but they don't know how to strategically put stuff out there to get to work, and they don't know what's working or not. That's usually where the biggest problems are. So in a digital growth system, all four components are key. We call this, our process for this is called the acceleration loop. So we have a system, those are the components, but the acceleration loop is this 3-year cycle where we go through alignment, activation, amplification, and acceleration. And for our clients, what we do is we begin with assessments and a digital strategy workshop. We align what's going on, and we go through a process, and we call it the 10-3-1. We create a 10-year vision for where the company's going. And sometimes companies have this, sometimes they don't. It always needs refined and clarified. There's always opportunity to make it better or clearer. Then we map out a 3-year mission, an economic mission, not some fluffy cloud mission, an economic mission. We want to drive X amount of revenue by this date, and it's a mission. And then the third thing is the 1-year goals that we really attack, which is in order to achieve that mission and support the long-term vision, what things do we need to accomplish this year in order to make all this work? That's alignment. And that all happens through, you can do that in a number of ways. We do that through assessments to get clarity, and a digital workshop to collaborate. Activation. This is where you got to build and refine the infrastructure to prepare for growth. This has to happen next. And this often includes building lead funnels like we just talked about. This may be including adding new pages to your website. This might be adding a blog. This might be making it possible for customers to buy your products online or reach out about a product. It's creating pathways for customers to interact with your brand at a marketing or sales level, not just an informational level. You see a lot of websites that we see, or companies that come to stay up, what you call brochure website, which is information about what they do. Gobs of information, overwhelming amounts of information, usually. And it's all good. And there's actually nothing wrong with the information. However, it's not actionable. And it doesn't necessarily directly drive marketing and sales. and work customers down the funnel at the rate that you want them. So that's what activation is. Amplification is taking that foundation that we built, that you built, the strategic foundation and the actual digital infrastructure, and executing on content, executing on channels like social, paid channels like Google, Facebook, or Meta, TikTok, whatever you want to do, or whatever works for your brand. And then lead magnets, which is ways for people to contact you and get value, and where you can show them what you do, and they can experience you without making a big commitment, but know what you offer. So those are ways to magnetize or to draw in leads, and that's an amplification process. It's the goal is eyeballs, contacts. Lastly, acceleration. This is the last part of the loop, and this is making optimizations, reporting, and recommendations to scale. And this is where you track all of your amplification efforts, and you know what's happening month to month, quarter to quarter, and you know exactly what's working and what's not. And we're able to prune what's not working. Yeah, that's not performing. Maybe Google Ads isn't the right fit here. Let's cut that and actually take the budget and reallocate it to Meta. And that's an optimization. Testing to forms for contact information. Oh man, this other form works way better. Twice as many people fill it out than the initial form. Well, let's replace it, get rid of the initial form, use the second form, and all of a sudden we've doubled our leads. So those are optimizations and tests you can do, reports to know information, and then, like I said, recommendations to scale. The result of this process is a connected cycle of growth. And here is this 3-year amplification loop where you go from digital strategy to digital presence to digital content to digital optimization. And this is a process in this order that you go. And everybody, no matter how many years your company is in business, you have to start and go through this process. The great news, though, is once you go through this process, you can start it and you do it every year. And you revisit and you improve and you get better. And this is the flywheel concept where every year gets easier, every year gets better. And it's not just on a year-to-year basis. Every quarter gets better. Every month gets better because you're constantly improving. And this is why we call it an acceleration loop. Because once you get through the process, you loop and you do it again and you do it again. And it's not a downward cycle of despair. It's an acceleration loop of growth and scale. All right. I believe that relationships equal results. I said business is personal. And that key thing about our business is we are all about relationships and results, those two things. And so I want to share a story with you about a client that we've worked with and had great success implementing our digital growth system and the amplification loop with. And they are in the amplification loop right now, and they have been for years now. And I think that it's successful because of two things. One, great relationship. We're connected. We do things together. We stay connected. We run the system. We run the process, and it's been a great relationship. Two is that we're measuring results and we're able to view results and reinvest resources into future growth. So this is our client, Western Interlock. You can see their old website when we kind of started working with them. Very gray, dull, monotone, and like it was a brochure website, lots of information, and but there wasn't a lot of opportunity for action, and it wasn't exciting necessarily to customers. And so what we did is on the right, one of the first things we did after strategy working through our activation process was actually redesigning the website. And that's a common thing in this process is to redesign or rebuild a website, or maybe even just a refresh. Maybe it's not a complete rebuild. So what we did here, you can see that on the right, beautiful new website, and that website actually launched years ago, but this is what it looks like today. And you can see beautiful background picture, clear call to action in the right. You can almost imagine yourself there or interacting with this. So what happened over that 3-year period of us working together, and like I said, we're still working together, is some really incredible things. We saw some big results. We saw an 847% new user growth on the website. And that's a massive number, and it almost seems unbelievable, but we practically, we went from 243,000 website visitors a year to 2.3 million. And this was mainly through the because of our amplification loop. I mean, it took alignment, it took actually building and launching a blog and creating new product pages, and then it also took years of content. And what happened was amazing at the end of it. And that new user growth drove a similar, almost identical lead growth percentage from almost 1,200 leads a year to 11,306 leads per year. 10x the number of leads. So it's incredible. Additionally, one of their main channels that they've had the most success in is YouTube. And I've done a lot of work on YouTube. We love it. It got a 258% growth rate as well over that time period. Went from almost 1,200 subscribers to now almost 7,000 subscribers. And these numbers actually, I think, are a little old. So if you look today, whenever you're watching this, it may actually be higher because it's growing like a flywheel. With little inputs, it's growing on its own at this point. It's amazing. Here's what they had to say about our work together. On the left, we have Nathan. He's the marketing director. He said, Structure, which is our company, is the only digital marketing agency I've ever met that gets down and dirty to make sure work gets done well and on time. That meant so much when he said that, because we've worked with so many clients, and honestly, working in agencies, I saw so many relationships go bad, and so many agencies work at a distance, and him feeling like we were in the trenches with him is what I wanted, is what we want our clients to feel. And we actually think that we get better results when we're doing that. So confirming. On the right, Colin, he also was on the marketing team and now works in sales, but he said, you're making it much easier to make a sale and keep existing customers happy. Thank you, man. That also, it was all this work, and one of the biggest challenges we hear from our clients or from people is like, hey, how do we connect marketing and sales, and how do we make sure marketing drives sales? And it's so nice. It was so nice to hear, hey, you are directly making it easier to make a sale. So just want to share that story with you. It's just some other relationships here from clients. We got Max, who is just some emails and screenshots from different conversations I've had with other clients recently. Max said, hey, thanks, Simon. Your thoughtfulness in creating this dashboard makes reviewing these reports easier for us. He's talking about our reports in the acceleration phase. The results look great. No questions from me. Keep it up. We had down here, Kesley, she sent me this long voice message, and this is only a little piece of it, but she sells puppies and is a breeder, and they have a nationwide flying service that they fly the puppies around. Really, really cool. And we helped them kind of launch and market that in some ways. And she said, I love this. I want to give you another update. I'm super stoked. My San Francisco page is really hot. Apparently, we have 2 puppies going to San Francisco 2 months in a row. So David flew there last month. Incredible story. She keeps going into saying how some of the activation and amplification work in the process that we did for them really changed their business. Some great, we send a survey out to all of our clients, and it was really cool to hear just what some of them say. What words do you use to introduce, describe, or explain structure and its services to friends and colleagues? Custom, engaging, knowledgeable, thoughtful, excellence, responsive, creative, integrity, valuable, friendly, family oriented, clean, professional, cost-effective, relatable, skilled, entertaining, trustworthy. Those are just, great words that I'm not trying to gloat here by any means. It's just I want you to see what people are saying about our system and what we do and the experience. And honestly, these words mean a lot to our team. Ryan, after helping them, through some reporting and through our process, he just emailed me the other day, hey, thanks for these ideas, and we're going to start implementing them. And so cool to see clients win, appreciate, value, grow, and take action on these on our program, our acceleration loop. All right. Now we're into questions. These are a grouping of questions that we get commonly asked, and I wanted to answer right here because you might have some of them, and I'd love to just get them out of the way so that you can maybe have answers or clarity on some of these. First thing we get asked a lot is, can't we just run ads and get leads? Can't we just run ads and get leads? The answer is yes. I mean, you can. Um, you can run ads and get leads. A few things is that running ads and getting leads is, in our process, that is the third of 4 steps. That's the amplification stage. And what happens is, if you are experiencing chaos, if you're experiencing busyness and stuckness right now, and you run ads, you amplify with a goal of getting leads, you're going to amplify chaos. You're going to amplify stuckness. And if you're not getting results now, you're going to spend money and not get results then. So if you want to just throw money at something to test it, you can. It's just the likelihood that it's going to work is very low, and we've seen it over and over. I've tried it over and over. I've seen people try it over and over. It doesn't work. The way to run ads and get leads is to align, to activate, and to then accelerate when you have clarity and you have a system will deliver what you want. Then you can amplify. And then the other part of that is the 4th step of the process, which is you've got to optimize. You got to accelerate. And running ads rarely works first month, first time. In my experience, you're looking at a good, if you're just starting, never running ads before, or taking over an old account, you can see some big growth, but which we have seen. But most of the time, especially if it's new, you're having a 90-day runway that you expect to run ads and learn and improve and tweak until you really start seeing the right results. Next question: how long until we see results? Great question. I think there's probably a clear hard answer for that, and there's a soft answer for that. And one of the hard answers for that is it depends how long you want to take and how soon you want to start. And one of the things I would say there is that, like I said at the start, seeing results and the speed of seeing results matters based on how you approach your growth. Let me say it another way, which is, most leaders take a 3-month process and they turn it into 3 years. And so if you want to see results, don't fart around for 3 years. Don't mess around for 3 years. Do the hard work right now for a 3-month period. Get clarity and activation so that you can get results and you can build. So how long you see results is really dependent on when you have that alignment and clarity and when you're getting started. That would be my biggest answer for that one. I want to speak to the intent behind it too, because often, regularly, we have had clients or worked with clients, and some of them we still work with and some of them we don't. But it's very common and easy to come into digital growth with a short-term mindset of quick wins. It's almost like I flip a light switch and the lights turn on, which is kind of like, can I just run paid ads and get leads? The truth is, if you're building a digital growth engine and a system, it takes time. It just takes time. And I really think that you can't walk into this digital growth process, with a short-term lens. It's also key, though, that a digital growth process plans for quick wins so you can start seeing results now, and plans for long-term developmental growth. And this is a really key part of a digital growth strategy or roadmap that you want to put together. Is we have our 1-year goals, and we want to make sure that some of those 1-year goals, we start seeing results within the first 60 to 90 days. We want to see short-term growth, but we also got to map it to that 10-year vision. And so we have to take a long-term lens and at both. So I hope that's helpful to kind of provide perspective on how to think about it. Um, and yeah, that's really it. I think that the key is to build something big that works, that drives, that delivers, and the best things do take time. We've tried insert market strategy, but it didn't work. Why would this be different? Yes, I love it. Okay, this is the classic story of we tried ads and it didn't work, or we tried blogging and it didn't work, or we um, hired an agency before and it didn't work. Well, the reason this is different is because it's not an ad hoc tactical attempt at a trendy piece of technology. Wow, that was a mouthful, but I hope you get my point. Is we want oftentimes these this instant gratification. I try it and it works because platforms, technology, solutions out there make these big promises that if you do this, it will just work. If you connect these things, it'll just make you millions. Well, that's not always how it works. Um, if it's connected and improved and systematic, it might make you millions, but it could just be a big waste of time and energy. And that's what I've seen happen a lot. So why would this be different? Why would this amplification loop, growth system be different? It's because it's a system. It's a system that builds on itself over time and relies less on your one-off daily inputs and relies on the system functioning by itself efficiently and effectively, no matter who's running it, no matter what inputs are going in, and that every input that does go in just makes it bigger and better. That's why it's different. Very different than throwing money at ads. Very different than just writing a blog post to try to get new traffic, right? You do write blog posts to get traffic. You do run ads to get leads and sales, but not in isolation. You do that strategically integrated within a system that supports itself. Can we just skip the strategy phase, or can we skip the strategy phase and just get started? Yeah, I mean, great question. I get this all the time. Literally just got it the other day. And the thinking is like, hey, we already know our goals. We already know our vision, our mission, or we need money now, or we need to drive revenue now. Let's get started. And can you do that? Yes, but my answer is the same as can we just run ads or whatever, is like, if you are going to amplify or activate, you're amplifying or activating what was before it. So if you've got chaos, if you're stuck, if you're just busy, you're just gonna just activate busyness, activate more chaos, and make it worse. Honestly, amplify that and accelerate all that. So at some point, you get sick of skipping the strategy phase, and you go back to the steps and you start and do it right. And there's a really great quote by I can't remember his name. He's a basketball coach, really well known. It's going to come to me after this, but he said, if you don't have time to do it right, when are you going to have time to do it over? And I think it's such a great question because it's prodding at, well, if you're not going to do it right, you're going to have to do it over. And when you're going to have to do it over, if you don't have the time to do it right, when are you going to ever do that? So you're just going to be constantly stuck in a downward cycle of despair instead of an upward loop of acceleration. I want you to win. Let's go for that one. What are the most common misconceptions leaders have when trying to grow digitally? Great. A few of them that I think of is, we've already kind of talked about it, but that tactics equal strategy, or tactics are strategy. Many leaders, many companies think that a better website, more social posts, paid ads will just solve their problem. And that's just not true. What they don't realize is those are tools. And there are a lot of tools out there. But without strategy to connect the tools, to know what the tool is for, those tools don't really work. And so, you don't necessarily use a drill to fix a pool tile. That might not work, right? And what we often do is we bring the wrong tools to the situations, and they don't work. And so we're bringing tactics where you need strategy, and we're taking action when we need alignment, and that's so common. And I'm passionate about it, and I want to help you win. And so I go back to vision, I go back to strategy. um Another one is that more leads equals more revenue. This is a big one. This is tricky, slippery slope, and I don't want anyone to walk in with a rose-colored glasses on this one. Is if you don't have enough revenue, you think I probably don't have enough traffic or enough leads. Yes and no, right? Um, Traffic turns into leads, that turns into revenue. Yes. However, if you don't have revenue, just throwing traffic in it won't necessarily bridge that gap. You have to turn it into a lead. And that's a process of convincing someone to go from becoming aware to becoming interested. Then you have to bridge another gap from lead to sale, which is sometimes even a bigger gap, which is I got to go from interested to deciding, or, um, taking action. And so a lot of times the actual problem with revenue is more like the sales process is broken. Messaging isn't compelling, such a big one that we overlook. Targeting the wrong audience. Um, the process to becoming a customer is not clear, or the sales team is just not nurturing the leads. There are leads. There's leads everywhere. Leads are, and if you don't have a sales process to nurture and mature leads, it's not a lead generation problem. It's a lead maturity problem. So there's a lot to unpack there. Biggest mistakes business make when trying to scale. Let's see. I think one of the biggest ones that I'm going to address first is alignment. Alignment. Yeah. And this goes back to the McKinsey study, the 70% ish companies fail to make transformations, is lack of alignment and buy-in across the board. Yeah. And everybody going in a different direction, trying to do different things. And really they have the same intent, which is like make it better. Um, but when they don't all have the same vision, same mission, same values, same goals, and that's all not tied in to the actions they take on every single day, it's not gonna work, you know? And that's alignment is the biggest thing. So, practically most marketing leaders really struggle to convince others around them. Maybe that's the CEO, or maybe that's the VP, or um, whatever, or even just teammates or sales team, right? To invest or see the value of long-term growth. And that's one of the biggest things. And so I want to help equip you to have ways of speaking, ways of talking, ways of thinking, ways of showing, um, how to make that case internally and how to gain alignment. And honestly, one of the ways this training right here is really hope. My hope is to unpack that. But the biggest thing is that we do is our workshops and our assessments to really uncover and unpack reality, because you're usually way more misaligned than you think. I think chasing too many priorities is another mistake, because and this is goes back to like just fragmented efforts, chasing too many priorities, like spreading your budget thin across efforts and disconnected initiatives. Like, I'm going to chase this new technology, it's going to fix our problem. There's a new trend on social media, we're going to do this thing, and it's going to fix our problem, it's going to drive more traffic, lead, sales. But really all those things are great, but they're most often just shiny objects or distractions from the main focus. And so what I want to do for you is help you to focus on high leverage activities that build, that stack, that are part of a system that drive growth over time, and isn't just ad hoc. It's systematic. It's a process. You're putting an input and it's producing outputs. All right. What do we got here? How do I know if I'm ready for an agency? Great question. I think that if the way to know if you're ready for an agency is if you are ready to submit to a process. trust a process. Not all agencies have a process. You got to watch out for that. But if you're ready to work with our agency in particular, you have to be ready to submit to a process and not just bring your chaos into the next thing. Well, we don't create chaos, we create consistency. And and I think most people want that consistency. They just don't know how to do it. So you have to go in knowing they might frustrate me because I want chaos or I'm used to chaos and they're going to fight for consistency. Other thing is proactivity versus reactivity, right? A lot of times within our companies and in our marketing campaigns, we react to trends, we react to problems, we react to customer complaints, we react to leadership feedback and micromanagement or whatever it is, right? And you know that you're ready for an agency when you're not only reacting or you're sick of reacting and you want to take a proactive approach at digital growth. Yeah. You want to put in the work and do the proactive thing and look ahead and work ahead of today. Third thing is invest. And I think invest in the future, invest in long-term growth. That's when you're ready for an agency. Is you've got to be able to get out of just the quick wins. You got to see beyond the day, the week. You got to think in decades. That's what I talk about and talk to our clients about. Think in decades. And not all agencies will do this. Every agency is probably different. But I know for our agency, like if you work with us, I'm going to push you to think in decades. And you can't always work in decades. You have to deal with today's things, right? You have to do activities every day. But the key is to map those daily activities to a decade-long view. And an agency is really going to push that forward faster. Yeah. What kind of budget do I need? Budget. Great question. I would say to work with an agency or to work with someone like us or to do digital growth in general, you're going to need between 250,000 to 500,000 a year on average to really see significant digital growth. And I mean, if you're trying to make, just like $5,000 a month, it's not, you don't need that big of a budget. You don't need an agency. That's a different situation. But if you're looking to drive more scalable revenue, you're trying to tackle, a $50 million growth, or you're trying to add a new product to make $1 million in the next year, or you're trying to really drive real business results, you're going to need a real business budget. And that's just what it is, I think. But that's not what you need to start. And so I would also have that caveat. I don't want to scare you away from starting because budget also very much depends on how much work, what do you need to do in terms of activation? How much work do you need to do in terms of amplification? What do you already have going for you? And so you got to evaluate those pieces. What are the things we're going to need to do? And so the best thing to start, you're probably going to need, $10,000 to $25,000 to start. And I would recommend working with some sort of expert consultant, leader, fractional CMO agency to really unpack your needs, unpack your situation, and help you create a roadmap or a strategy to move forward. And, like I said, that could cost $10,000 to $25,000 to go through that process, but it's really going to give you clarity on where you're at, what you need, and then actually what it would cost in order to accomplish the goals you want. Cool. Takeaways. Out of questions, into takeaways. Biggest thing I want you to remember coming out of this is one, alignment creates acceleration. Alignment creates acceleration. And this is that like an integrated strategy always works better than scattered tactics. Integrated strategy always works better than scattered tactics. So start with alignment, work through a process to get to acceleration. Our amplification or acceleration loop is um, is the culmination of that process. ROI should be clear. No matter what you're doing, you should know what the ROI is. You need to know how many leads you're bringing in. You know how the sales are. You know how much you're making at the end of the day. And right away, that's going to be challenging because you have to figure out what to measure. You have to figure out what your baselines and your goals should be. It's a process, but doesn't have to be perfect. But it can be a process. And either way, the goal, especially after 3 years, it shouldn't take 3 years, much less than 3 years, a year max. The ROI should be clear. You should see ROI after the first year, and you should know what it is. And it may or may not be positive, but ultimately your spending should be investing because it should be creating a bigger future. Three is hire a partner, work with people, work with agencies, work with partners, work with freelancers that build assets that contribute to your system, that don't just do activities and complete tasks and busy work. That needs to be done, and you'll probably need to find someone for that, but don't hire a partner to build that if you want to grow big. Look at building assets, look at building a system, look at inputs that can go farther than the moment. High leverage. Hope that makes sense. All right, reflection. Now that we're here, the coach and me has some questions just for you to reflect and process some of this information with your situation and figure out where are you at and where do you want to go next, right? The question that I want to ask you, and this is called the R factor question. It's from a guy, his name's Dan Sullivan, and he runs a coaching company called Strategic Coach. And he asks this question. He's taught me and many others this question. And it is, if you and I were having this discussion 3 years from today, so, it's March 2027, 5 to 6, 2028, and you were to look back over those 3 years to today, this moment, you're sitting here looking at this screen, hearing my voice, processing all this information, these ideas, and these frameworks and models. If you were to look back, what has to have happened for you personally, for your company professionally, for you to feel happy about your progress? I mean, if you have a second here, like take out a pen and paper, or a sticky notepad or something, and maybe just write down a few thoughts. Take a minute. It's okay if you can pause this. Like, write down what would make you feel happy about that progress. And then when you're ready, replay, and then we'll do the next one here. All right, I'm going to jump ahead. The other question is, what are the dangers, opportunities, and strengths you see in between here and there? It's a really important question, because first you identify what that progress would look like, how you would want to feel, what would make you happy, and then what would maybe be keeping you from getting there. What are some of the things that you may have not thought of, opportunities that could help you get there, and what are the tools, the strengths, the things that you have right now that you can bring to that next 3 years to get there? So, take a piece of paper, same one you're working on, maybe create 3 columns, write dangers, opportunities, strengths, and write some ideas, just as a reflection point. You can pause this. I'm going to keep going, but you can jump back in as you're working on this, or just keep watching and we'll keep rolling. The truth is, most companies that wait on this, they say, I'm not going to take action right now. I'm going to do this later. Thanks for the information, but it's not time. We're busy. How many times have I heard that? Every day I hear, we're too busy, right? Okay, well, then you're not building. You're busy. That's the truth. So most companies that wait to grow, wait to build this, wait to solve this problem, they just lose another year stuck trying to figure it out. I don't need to read this more times. You get the point. Most companies that wait, I'm going to read it again. Most companies that wait on this lose another year stuck trying to figure things out. So, is that what you want to do? Or if you move forward and take action, what might success look like in 90 days? Take a chance to write that down too. We're not looking 3 years out now. We're only looking 90 days. We're looking 1 quarter. March to April to May to June, or wherever this is. It's March right now, but in 3 months, what could be different if you took action? What actions might you take? If you don't, what would it cost you for the next 90 days? What do you have to keep doing that you don't want to keep doing? That's expensive, that's frustrating. What's the stress cost for the next 90 days? What's the financial cost for the next 90 days? How much are you spending on ads that aren't working? How much are you spending on people that don't know what they're doing? Do you even want to keep doing what you're doing in 90 days? Or honestly, you just go, man, that's so expensive. I don't want to do any of this in the next 90 days. I want to change everything. I want it to be totally different. I don't know where you're at today, but um, that might be your reality. You're like, I'm tired of being stuck. I'm tired of the chaos. I'm tired of the busy. I want a better way. All right. If that's you, there's a next step. Like I said, no pressure. However, I want to help and I want to help you take the next step. And here's how I can do that. I want to help you through a digital strategy workshop. This is one of the core pieces, one of the key deliverables of our alignment component in the acceleration loop. And this is a 1.5 day in-person workshop in Scottsdale, Arizona. Bring your team. We'll get a huddle in a conference room. This is a picture here with John and Rebecca at Fiesta Peak in Phoenix. This was, I don't know what time this was, 6:30 in the morning. We got up early. It was the middle of the summer, and we got up early and we went on a hike so we could connect and just break the ice before we huddled in a conference room all day. We had a great hike. It was amazing. We rallied into the conference room already, um, just bustling with energy, ready to go and solve problems. It's fun memory. So anyway, the workshop is $15,000 and there's 2 spots left. We do open up 2 spots every month. And depending on when you watch this and what time it is in the month, there may be 1 spot left or we may be full. So if you want to get started, I would recommend reaching out and I'll show you what that looks like and how to get started next. But this is just kind of how we run it. Basically what this is this is the first step as a key part of your digital growth system. So the acceleration loop, the digital growth system, we come and we install that in your business if you want it and run it to perfection over a 3-year period. And we continually do that as long as you want to work together, or you can take our plan from the workshop and you can implement it yourself. Either way, it's up to you, but we love to come in and help you grow and see that transformation over time. This $15,000 is a forward credit. What I mean by that is that the full amount goes toward implementation. So practically, you say, I want to do a workshop, you pay 15 grand. We do the workshop, we present your digital growth system plan. You say, let's do it. I want to hire you. We take this 15,000 and we credit it as a discount towards the workshop. So it's effectively free as we roll it forward. And it just becomes part of the work. So that way it's if you're really interested in hiring us for help, it's not a lost cause of any sort. Lastly, guaranteed results. We guarantee, this is crazy, but we guarantee 10x ROI or your money back. Now, what this means is if you do this workshop, you take the digital growth system that we give you and you run with it and you implement it as we've lined out and you actually fulfill it. You don't get 10x ROI on it. We will give you your 15 grand back easy because we want this to work. Similarly, if we run it and implement it over that, the digital growth system and you're not seeing 10x ROI, we will give your 15 grand back as well. But we've never had to give money back, to be honest. This is it's always so high value, and most of the time our clients actually walk out of this workshop with 10x value, where if I did this, I would make 10x the value of this workshop instantly. And that's usually what happens. We end up with very high value ideas. So if you're ready to do this, if you want to explore this, go to wearestructure.com/start. And what will happen is you'll land on this landing page. And this is our landing page. You could read it. There's more here. This is just a screenshot. But this, if you click that gold button, it'll drop you down to a form. You fill out the form. And what this is a call. It's a one-on-one call where we get to know you. We get to make sure we're a great fit. We can help you. And that the $15,000 investment in the digital strategy workshop is worth your time and money, and that we can deliver for you and you will get the most out of it. It also helps us to know more about you, to know what you individually are facing and how we can help. And so that's really the hope. If it's great, we'll work together, we'll book a workshop and we'll have a great time. If not, we'll still leave you with ideas, insights, and you're going to walk away with clarity that you didn't have before. And you'll also, if we know anybody or can introduce you or, guide you into any next steps, we would be happy to do that. We always love to leave everyone in a good spot. And I mean that, I really do. Okay. What do you get in the workshop? Just outcomes, basically 4 key things. There's a lot you're going to get. But these are some of the high overview outcomes, which is one, you're going to see a bigger, brighter vision of the future and what's possible. Happens every time. Clients come in to the workshop and they're like, I don't think I'm going to learn anything today. It happens every time. And then they walk out and they go, I understand my business better today than I did when I walked in this morning. And some of these people have been doing their business for 20, 30 years. And they say, I see things I didn't see. 2, you're gonna map out exactly how to accomplish business goals with digital strategy. Actually, we're gonna map out how to accomplish business goals with digital strategy, but we're gonna unpack those goals, the vision, the 10-3-1, like I mentioned, the vision, the mission and the goals. And we're gonna help you map that exactly how that works out so that you're not just trying stuff, that you're actually driving business results forward. 3, a clear and actionable plan, saving you years of trial and error. You're not going to have to make up your plan or ask ChatGPT for it and hope it works, or try to figure it out on your own. You're going to get a plan that will work, plan that we back with $15,000, and we guarantee that this is going to work, and we will put our money behind it, and put our money where our mouth is. 4th, that you just know what you need to do. You're not stuck anymore. You're not confused. You're not lost. You know what it takes to succeed. You have a plan, and all that's left is action. It's all laid out for you. All you have to do is execute. That's what you're going to walk out of that with. And I think you'll love it. So I hope to see you there if you're interested. This is just some pictures here. I just want to share because it's fun. I'm not going to lie. We have a great time. We've done a number of things with our clients through our workshops. It seems like every time we tend to summit some mountain or hill. If you're into hiking or whatnot, that's a very fun thing to do. That we like to reach some sort of summit in all the ways. We also like to get food together. We've gone to winery. We've gone out to Italian dinner. And so we find a way, and we make time to connect. We make time to learn about you. We make time to have both intentional, intense conversation and also connective and engaging, furthering of ideas. And it's amazing how a lot of the times, even some of the activities that we do together very much contribute to the experience and contribute to the ideas and your mind state as you work on this together. So, all right, this is it. That is the acceleration loop, how it works, how we can help. And again, my name's Simon, and thank you for sitting through this today. And I hope it's helpful. And I hope to see you in a workshop soon. Take care.